now on to Hamnet. So this is the lettable subscription of Hamnet. The tagline is "Keep your heart open." The powerful story of love and loss that inspired the creation of Shakespeare's timeless masterpiece, Hamlet. So this was directed by Chloe Zhao, who did Nomadland and Eternals. So
Or Dara.
second This is her second feature after her Oscar win Best Picture and Best Director, as we've established. It stars Jessie Buckley as Agnes, Paul Mescal, Emily Watson, Jacoby Jupe, Joe Alwyn, and many more. It was written by Chloe Zhao and co-written by Maggie O'Farrell, who is the author of the book, which is inspired on with the same name, Hamnet. So I just want to see what were your overall impressions of Hamnet? Was there anything you making out?
So I'm kind of gonna go. So now I've seen it 2 times. I watched it at the London Film Festival, and on first watch, I loved it. Like
Yeah.
I thought it was brilliant, and I remember thinking Jessie Buckley did one of the best performances of the year. I think she did the best performance of the year, in my opinion, for when I'd first seen it. And Paul Mescal was just, he's great. But I rewatched it, and I think it's great film. I'm not as positive, especially, and you're gonna like this. After
Okay.
watching Sentimental Value, the whole time I
Yeah.
was watching Hamlet, I was just going, "This is so great," but Hamlet's better. No, but Sentimental's better.
Mm.
Sentimental's better. Better.
Yeah.
Renee, better. Stellan, better. Igna, better.
Mm.
They're better than all the opponents. I think. No, I'll give
Um.
Hamlet best cinematography of the year. And I know I did say about Trend Race, but rewatching this in the cinema,
Okay.
I was just like, oh my god.
Yeah, that's one of the points I actually have written down here. But I just want to go back to that. You think that the Cinnamon Value performances are better than all of this? Because I mean, I love Cinnamon Value. I think we've established that over these
Yeah.
last few episodes. But I
Don't
I
start that
think
banging
that
pod.
Paul Mescal and Jessie Buckley are not clear, but I think they are two of the best performances of the year, and I think they are definitely better than Renata Reinsve and Stellan Skarsgård.
I
I
don't know.
think that
I think Paul Mescal, first half, he's good, but it's only the second half when he becomes like really good. Well, I think Stellan's Pacific, like he's great whole way. And I think, and I was saying this to my friend, um, yes, Jessie Buckley does kind of the Oscar scenes. Like, when
yeah.
she like gives birth, she's like crying and being all like physical and emotional, and it's like this big scene. And then the scene when
hmm
um spoilers, Hamlet dies, you know, um,
I don't think.
like
Sorry, I don't think that's a bit of a spoiler. That is kind of the plot,
true, depends.
but
But
just
like,
spoiler warning. Yeah,
yeah, it's not I still die just in case. Um,
yeah, yeah.
she's crying and she's screaming. And it's like that's gonna be Oscar worthy because, predictable. But I think Renee
Mm,
is so subtle, and I like, and that's why I
yeah,
said when we did the top 10, I said I love Sentimental Value because there's not much screaming. There's no, big moment where it's like this big release of energy. Everyone's kind of like calm and collective. And I just think that, just
uh,
seeing that, I was just so, because like since I'd watched Sentimental Value, it's more just a Sentimental Value review now, to be honest. I just can't stop thinking about it. But I think, and now rewatching Hamlet, which I did love, and seeing, I just prefer Sentimental Value, personally.
yeah. No, I'm the same. I do prefer Cinema Fair. I think it's better than this, but I think both of them are still absolutely
Both
incredible
great films.
pieces of work. Yeah, exactly, and I think they are both top five of the year. I think they're still both absolutely fantastic in my opinion, but I do think that I prefer the performances in Hamlet. Just yeah, I think especially that Jessie Buckley leading performance is just like incredible. I think it's the best of the year. For me personally, I don't really think anyone was better. And I think that rightfully so. Her Oscar,
Yeah.
she'll receive her Oscar, for this masterpiece. Um, but yeah, I think at the end of the day, Paul Mescal's performance is a very supporting one. Like, I think
I
he
think he's really good,
knows what
especially
to
in the
do.
scene. Yeah. I think he's really good, especially in the scene when he's like, again, it's the you're mouthing the words, you're not, and he just goes in this whole like, rant
Yeah.
scene. And he's great in that. Like I do think he's great. He's just I just preferred the subtlety of Simon Valley, but, deck writing aside, it's
Yeah.
most
Uh,
talk about film in the podcast, by the way. We've mentioned it, I think, in, like, every episode, or nearly
yeah, I
every
think we
episode,
have definitely.
you
Yeah,
know?
definitely, definitely. I just want to go back then to what you said about the cinematography being the best of the year. So this was shot, or cinematography is becoming a bit of a running joke, by Lucas Jal, who did The Zone of Interest and I'm Thinking of Ending Things and Cold War. Yeah, I think one of the notes that I have here now is that the composition of shots, and I think this is something that on the first watch I was more sort of mesmerized by the story and sort of the performances. Whereas this time going into it, not going into it, but just naturally what happened is because I knew what was happening, and obviously this is my first time going through anything. I'm not a big Shakespeare fan, and I think that this does really well in terms of it's not overly Shakespeare. I mean, yes, it is, but it's not. It's not hard to
Easy
digest for someone that. Yeah,
easy watch.
I'm not big into Shakespeare. I don't. If you were to start saying Shakespeare quotes, I mean, I've done Macbeth in school and that, but I'm not. I don't really like Shakespeare. Not like is the wrong word, but I don't. I'm not into it, right? And I don't think it's obviously it's time and it's it's whatever but my point is that I think even if you are someone like us who's not really dived deep into anything Shakespeare's done apart from the odd thing at school or not really big fan of Shakespeare's work really, it's still easy to digest and it's still not overly like my biggest problem with it is I just can't get on board with the language they use. It's just I don't know. I guess the time period obviously made up his own stuff. I'm going a bit tangent here, but um yeah. My point is it's easy to digest if you haven't really done much of Shakespeare. And I know it's taken a while for me to say that, um, but you still get the point. And oh, I forgot a shame, but I was going to say about, going into it now, I was so more focused on sort of the ambience and the lighting and the production and the cinematography. And I think that's what really stood out on a second watch.
You know what I noticed? I don't know if I'm, like, losing it or anything, but it wasn't shot straight. Some scenes, I felt like some scenes were, like, kinda tilted, like, the camera was really it would give, like,
Really?
this weird dreamlike feel. I don't know if I'm, like
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't notice that though.
it's
Not
like when,
saying
like, she
it.
gives birth and to
Oh
her
yeah.
first child, and, like, I think
Yeah.
maybe the opening when she's in the woods. It's always when it's in the woods.
There's one thing I've noticed, and I was just wondering, could this be what you're thinking of? When this is going into slight spoilers here, but when she's in the woods, there's always that hole in the thing, and it's like the abyss, kind of. It's the dark
Yeah.
sort of passageway. Is that what not what you're on about? But is that maybe highlighting that when the camera tilts? Is it maybe that scene you're on about? Not scene, but
Yeah,
is it
it's
that
like
sort of glooming presence you're on about?
yeah, or it's like when she's walking and the like, blanks, like, kinda the camera, fades to black, and then when she's holding her child, the
Yeah,
camera's sort of, like,
yeah.
you
It's
know,
like yeah, I know what you mean now.
it's kinda
Yeah,
tilted. Yeah, that's what I'm
yeah.
talking about.
Yeah, it's yeah, it's very yeah. I think again the cinematography is some of the best of the year. Um,
Score as
but
well.
I I was just about to bring this up. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's what I
what I want to say about the score is the score is not noticeable. It's the wrong word, but it's still there. It's still great. But the one piece of score, the one composition at the end of the film when it's that whole
oh,
powerful scene. I don't want to say what it is because that's kind of the ending of the film. But like when they're looking at each other, that song that plays is absolutely incredible, and it's just been
you know
going
what
through
I
my mind
liked?
ever since I saw it last night.
Um,
Yeah,
when it's kind of the second time they meet, um, Anya and William. It's when, she's,
mm,
like, showing him the wee ritual and all. It's after he tells her the story. There's, like, this weird sort of ambient music. I think it also plays when she's showing the kids the wee ritual, like crushing the leaves, divide 30, divide poison, divide vinegar or
yeah,
something. No, I thought that
mm,
was quite nice sounding.
mm,
I mean, I'm just
yeah.
saying, like,
Um,
yeah.
Yeah, that's something I had as well. You know, the sort of the ambience and it goes throughout the whole film. It's a very nature-esque film, and I haven't
Yeah.
seen this in my first. Well, no, Eternals is, but I watched that ages ago. This is my
Yeah.
first Chloe Zhao film, but it's my first
I mean,
proper
I've
sort
seen
of
Nomadland, but I can't
glimpse as a
remember it. I watched
filmmaker.
it when I was like young.
Yeah, but it feels like, especially from interviews I watched the directors on directors with, with Josh Safdie, and she seems like a very nature sort of driven filmmaker, and I think that definitely comes out during this, which I think it works really really well, um, and yeah, I know we've talking about the acting, but there's one performance I think is incredible that we haven't really spoken about, and that is Jacoby Jupe, and it I don't think it will get the uh flowers it's deserved. But because he's so young, but it's still just an exceptional performance. It is genuinely incredible.
I
It's
don't mean to be salty
unbelievable.
and all, but I found out this guy's like 13 years old or something, and I thought he was like six. And also,
Is
I
he
like
13?
this man. He's 13. Me and my
Huh,
friends are just thought because I found out he was born like
huh,
20. He was like born like 2013 or something. He's like 13.
huh. Interesting.
Something. I know I'm kind
Yeah, I
of.
thought it would have been about 8 or 9. But
I
yeah,
thought he
no,
was
it's
like six,
great.
bro. No, he is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think that's the age of the character is meant to be. So that's a pretty good thing from that sort of standpoint. That's believable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think it's a great reflection on grief. And how grief comes out in art, and I think one of the things that not really stuck out to me, but one of the things I really liked is, when he's saying, this is slight spoilers here, when he said, "Oh yeah, and I know child won't survive London, so I've started looking in for land outside Stratford." I thought that was a really really great part um for those great
Oh
bit of
yeah.
it. Yeah, I'm just looking from our notes in as I think we've spoken about a lot of the things I've got. Um, actually, there's one thing here, and that's the production design. I think the production design production
The
design
production
of it
side.
was I think it's excellent. I think
I have one
you
thing
know, mm,
before we move segment. I do have one more thing to say about Hamnet, and that
yeah, yeah,
is for me, it is not a good film to rewatch. I so when I rewatched it, I feel like it's one of those films where it is so powerful and it is so moving. But after you feel all those emotions and you revisit those scenes that made you feel that way, you just don't feel that way. And I just think it's sort of, you know, to me,
mm,
it just won't hit as hard as the first time. Like,
mm,
there were scenes where I remember, like, going, wow, I was really moved and I was really, like, but then when I was watching, I was just sort of, I wasn't as, you know, emotionally
yeah,
connected back to them. So I just think, to
mm.
me, Hamlet is an awful rewatch film. Great film,
I yeah.
but I wouldn't recommend.
Is
Like,
this
I never. Yeah, I said to my
is this
friends, "Don't
why you
rewatch it."
think that is this why you think that it's gone down on rewatch?
Yeah, that's why. I just
I just
think
want to
that and sentimental value, of course.
I'm going to disagree with you on that. I think it is not a great film to watch. I think it deserves a second viewing because I think that on a second viewing, a lot of the subtlety of it comes out, and I think in the first viewing you're so moved by everything, but on the second one you kind of just feel, the ambience, the nature of it all, and I think that's really
I didn't really.
shines through on a rewatch.
I don't know if I'm stupid, but I didn't feel any subtlety. I'm not. Like, I just felt
No, I
like
mean
the
like
film was
this.
very. Do you mean like a filmmaking aspect? Like filmmaking,
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's
you
what I
don't mean
mean.
like the actual script? And like,
Yeah, yeah,
all right, fair
but yeah,
enough.
like the
No,
filmmaking of it. Yeah.
I was about to say like,
So
just to me the script's very like in front and center, like in
hard
face,
hitting.
like face value. You can take it at face value. You can't really go any deeper.
Yeah.
You know,
Right, so Jack, what is your final rating of Chloe Zhao's Hamnet?
4.5 out of 5. I know I was not as nice to it, but I do really like it, and I think the performances are great, and it is one of the best looking films of the decade. I just don't
Hmm.
think it's a great rewatch film, but it is really good, and I do really like it. So
Interesting.
4.5 out of 5.
Was it on a 5 before?
Yes, it was a 5. 4. and I
Yeah, for
dropped it.
me, it's 4.5. I said everything that I wanted to say about it. Performance is great, set design's great. That final score is incredible. Just the scope of it. It's great. The directing, the filmmaking is all incredible. I think it's incredible. I think maybe the fact that it's not as hard hitting on a rewatch, maybe that's a reason why it's not up there with the 5. But I still think that it deserves a second viewing. Maybe not 8, 9 rewatches. But I've never really been a person that's gonna watch a film 15 times